Shalom, Kolayim La, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. We'll see what the bonus to those of GMS, and honest you, Akim. Peace and bless you, brothers and sisters that listen, the hopeful elect, Kolayim La, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. And, this topic has been causing a lot of controversy as of late, as far as what the new covenant meant. All right? The new covenant. And that's when I do the lesson to the probably Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, covering the morning star, which is the new covenant, man, which consists of us getting those new bodies, like scripture says, being our bodies being changed in the air while we getting beamed up out on Ratsasah, and we get those new bodies, man. Okay, that's fashioned like unto Yahweh Shai, where the Most High is gonna put the law, statutes, and commandments in our inward part, man. You see? And that's the age of immortality. Let's get it. Revelation, the 2nd chapter. That's the new covenant. You see, we're not in the midst of the new covenant right now. We're in grace, man. The space between two covenants. All right? The Lord has given us grace. We're covered by his blood. Okay? The ones that's been called into this faith, man. Obviously, all Israel in the kingdom, but only the elect right now. And that's what I read right now. That's what Yahweh Shai said. Revelation chapter 2, verse 25. But that which ye have already hold fast till I come. So we have this gift, man, this treasure in earthen vessels. All right? Scripture says, let no man take thy crown. That's the crown, the knowledge, man. All right? You're supposed to hold on to it and endure. Scripture says, sell it not. Do not give it up for anything. No matter what you go through, man, you have to keep fighting. All right? That's the condition of the battle. Because Yahweh Shai had to go through the same. And that's why he said, and he that overcometh, like he said, he that endureth to the end, and keepeth my works unto the end. Because we're in the end. We're approaching Jacob's trouble, aka the hour of temptation. This is it, man. He said, to him will I give power over the nations, dominion. So what was promised to Yahweh Shai in Psalms, the 2nd chapter, his elect, his brethren, is going to get the same inheritance as it tells in Romans, the 8th chapter, man. Those are the promises that the Apostle Paul talked about in Romans, the 9th chapter. All right? So dominion over the nations. That's the kingdom of heaven. Read on. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As vessels of a pottle shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. You see? Who don't want that, man? Jakes are crazy, man. Who don't want power, man? All right? Power over the nations. Power over your enemies, man. Okay? That's what Yahweh Shai promises elect, man, if we endure. And I will give him the morning star, right? Which is what? The new covenant, man. The new covenant, man. Right, and all the future glory and the promises, aka immortality. That's what Yahweh Shai promised us, man. Let's get Isaiah the 44th chapter, and I'm gonna jump to Wisdom of Solomon. You know, a couple of precepts. Isaiah chapter 44, verse 21. Let's get this. It says Isaiah 44:21. It says, remember these, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee, thou art my servant. The Lord chose Israel, man, and all the different 18 nations. He chose the children of Israel to serve him. All right, all the services and the promises was the covenants, all the the oracles of the Most High. They were all Israelites, man. Okay, it says, thou art my servant, O Israel, thou shalt not be forgotten of me. So the Most High didn't forget us. That's why he's shown mercy in this day and time. I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, as a cloud thy sins return unto me, for I have redeemed thee. How did he redeem us? Through Yahweh Shai's blood. Right? Yahweh Shai's blood covers us, man, and all our transgressions. That's called grace. That's grace. The Lord redeemed us, man, through the blood of the Lamb. Let me read on. Sing, O ye heavens, for Yahweh Shai have done it. Shout, ye lower parts of the earth. break forth into singing, ye mountains, O forests, every tree therein. For Yahweh Bashem El Shah have redeemed Jacob and glorified himself in Israel, man. So the Lord hath redeemed us, and ultimately going to be redeemed when the Mashiach returns. And we get that morning star, that new body. Because when you read Wisdom of Solomon in the 2nd chapter, oh man, it's all kind of precepts, man. Let's get it. Wisdom of Solomon, 2nd chapter. It's a classic precept. It says, Wisdom of Solomon 2:23. It says, for the Most High created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. And we're going to go back to that. Like Yahweh Shai said, give me that glory I had with you from the beginning. Right? And the sons of God was also present, man. Right? But the scripture says we've been placed in these chains of darkness. But he also subject us, since we were subject to vanity, we're also subject to hope in the Mashiach. Let's read on though. So the Most High created us to be what? Immortal. We were supposed to be made in the image of his own eternity. Okay, we did lessons on the garden already. We did videos on the garden, on Adam and the sons of the Adamites, right? The sons of the Most High, and how we fell from grace. You see, by Eve being beguiled by the serpent, which we always go into, that was a characteristic of a certain man that was in the garden. All right, the children of men, man, and they envied the sons of the Most High because why? We had immortality. We had the tree of life. And that's talking about who? That's when he said the Most High created man to be immortal. That was the Adamites, man, and made him to be an image of his own eternity. So we were supposed to represent him. You see, ambassadors to the Most High. That never changed. All right. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil, we just talked about that, came death into the world when we fell prey, all right, to the sons of men. Started following their different philosophies and their different ideologies, right? We covered ourselves, man. We took off this righteous covering and we put on a different covering. You see? And that's when death came into the world. See, that's when we fell from grace. And they that do hold of it do find it. But when you read Wisdom of Solomon, the 3rd chapter, and this is coming, man, Adon Ratazah. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 6. It says, and who's this is going to? This is going into the souls of the righteous, man. Right? Like you just had a brother who just passed away, which this is not the end. We're going to see that brother again. But this time, he gonna have that new covenant, man, that new body. Okay? And out of Ratazat, we all meet each other up in the air. Those gonna be the first brothers on the chariots, man. Right? The brothers that pass away in this thing, man. They gonna have the new bodies and everything first on the chariots. All right? It says so this is the souls of the righteous. Let me jump down to verse. Let's read on down. In the sight of the unwise, they seem to die, and a departure is taken from misery. They going from us is to be utter destruction, but they are in peace. For though they be punished in the sight of men, like the brother who was going through certain ailments, heard he was suffering. But the scripture says, yet their hope is full of immortality. See, because he endured to the end. All right, he carried his cross unto the latter end. And have been a little chastised, because the scripture says that's just a little chastisement, the things that we're going to compared to the glory that we're going to receive. All right, they shall be greatly rewarded, for the Most High approved them and found them worthy for himself. We're going through that fire, that fiery affliction. That's a part of the baptism. As gold is tried in the furnace, you have tried them and received them as a burnt offering, because we are that sacrifice as well. And the time of their visitation, they shall shine. All right. And she talks about which it tells you that. I'm going to get that. Is it Daniel? The book of Daniel, the 12th chapter tells you that. Those that bring many unto righteousness shall shine like the firmament in heaven. Okay. We're going to be the new celebrities, man. Okay, that beacon of light that people look up to, because we endured, man. It tells you as many as turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. So we are gonna shine. And we in the midst, we come into that time, brothers, man. That's what we have to endure, man. Because we want to see these things that we're reading about, man. All right, it's like we always tell Jake, it's not just going to be us prophesying on the streets. Okay, the Most High is going to take it to another level, man. And that's called what? Power, man. Spiritual power, man. And run to and fro like sparks among the stubble, Isaiah the 40th chapter. They shall judge the nations, like we just read in Revelation the 2nd chapter, and have dominion over the people, and their Lord shall reign forever, Yahweh Shai. They that put their trust in him, which we have put our trust in the Mashiach, man. Okay? Like Yahweh Shai said, where he's the vine, we're the branches. Right. Right? He said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father, man. So we putting our trust and faith in the Mashiach by believing in what? By believing in the word. Shall understand the truth, aka the word, and such be faithful, and love shall abide with him, for grace and mercy is to his saints, and he have care for his elect, man. Okay, so the elect are the sons of the, let me get that 1 John the 3rd chapter, have been called into immortality, man. All right. This thing is deep, man. Let's get that 1 John 3:1. It says, behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of the power. Because the majority of our people right now, they're bastards. All right. The scriptures, the Most High said that what? They're degenerate vine. He doesn't recognize them. So if you've been called into this, you've been called what? The scripture says in John the 1st chapter. Let me get that before I read John chapter 1 verse 12. It says, but as many as received him, who Yahweh Shai, to them he gave power to become sons of the Most High, man. Even to them to believe on his name. Which you have men out there saying that when they come fighting for the name, they want to do that. These niggas fighting over spots, man. Right, you're supposed to be banging for that name, man, spiritually. But the scripture says, many that believed on him, to them then he gave power to be sons of the Most High. So we're sons of the power again. So let's read 1 John 3:1, and I'm going to tie this all into Revelation in a minute. It says, behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of the Most High, man. Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. It didn't know Yahweh Shai. He said, if the world hated you, he said it hated me before they hated you, man. Right? This current present world is satanic, it's demonic. Do a video on that, man. Everything is LGBTQIA, seducing, sexualizing children. This place is satanic, man. All right? It says, beloved, now we are the sons of the power, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. We just read in Wisdom of Solomon, the 3rd chapter. Adam and Ratazashub said we're going to shine, we're going to run to and fro like the sparks. We're going to judge the nations. That's what we've been called into this thing. To be judges, to be rulers, to be immortal. Okay? Those new bodies, man, power, glory. Shine like the stars of heaven. It says, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. So we gonna be likened unto the Mashiach, as it tells you in Philippians 3rd chapter. Our body's gonna be fashioned like unto Yahweh Shai's, man. See, that's the promise that the Most High promises elect. And then the rest of the nation through the elect, man. All right, and you know what? Before I read Revelation, the 21st chapter, actually in Sirach, the 5th chapter. Now, man, look how much time. Sirach chapter. Is it Sirach? Sirach, the 50th chapter, when it went into our forefathers' compared him to a star, right? And that's how we're going to be shining forth, man. Scripture tells you wisdom causes a man's face to shine, right? When you read about Simon the high priest, so you get that Sirach 50:1, it says, Simon the high priest, the son of Onias, who in his life repaired the house again, and his days fortified the temple. This is going into great and famous men. And by him was built the foundation of the double height, the high fortress of the wall upon the temple. In his days the scissor to receive water, being compassed as a sea, was covered with plates of brass. He took care of the temple, and we're also priests as well. Let me get that after this, Isaiah 61. See, this is all a part of the morning star, man. The promises, man, the glory. It says, he took care of the temple that should not fall, and fortified the city against besieging. And we know now it's a spiritual temple. This is a spiritual house. Okay? And the scripture declares of what? This is that royal priesthood. The brothers that's been called into this, the sons of the power. How was he honored in the midst of the people, and is coming out of the sanctuary? He was as the morning star in the midst of a cloud, man. See? And as full at the moon. So he was like a star, man. All right? Let's read that precept again. So he had brightness. He had that glory, man. Simon the high priest, man. And we have that. All right? That perfect knowledge, man. See, he said he was as a morning star in the midst of a cloud. So this is symbolic, right? We all know this is symbolic. He was like a morning star in the midst of a cloud, and as a moon, and as the moon at the full. All right? That's how righteous he was, man. As the sun shining upon the temple of the Most High, and as the rainbow giving light in the bright clouds. That's how righteous Simon was, man. He was like a beacon of light in his day and time. As the flower of roses in the spring of the year, as the lilies by the rivers of water, and as the branches of frankincense tree in the time of summer. So you see, so these are the different metaphors, similitudes that Sirach is using to describe Simon the high priest. And that's also the elect as well. All right? We're like the sun shining forth upon the temple of the Most High, man. Flowers, mention the lilies, the Most High favorite flower, by the rivers of water, because we have the wisdom, knowledge, and the understanding. And the branches of frankincense tree in the time of the summer, as fine incense in it, censer as a vessel of beaten gold set with the manner of precious stones. So this is a beautiful description of Simon the high priest, man. You see, and the scripture says he was shining forth as the morning star. And in the kingdom, this is how we're going to be shining as well. And the nations are going to know it, and they're going to see it, man. See, let me read on. As a fair olive tree budding with full fruit, at the cypress tree with growing up to the clouds. It says, when he put on the robe of honor, was clothed with perfection of glory. When he went up to the holy altar, he made the garment of holiness honorable, man. All right. As it tells you, we're the sons of Adam, and you read Exodus the 28th to the 30th chapter. All right, the high priest, man. And like we said, we're all priests now, starting with Yahweh Shai, Melchizedek. Okay? King of righteousness, man. So we're going to be fashioned like unto him. That's why the scripture says so. That was a beautiful description, man. Beautiful, man. So the new covenant, the morning star, the perfect goodness, the immortality, the promises, everlasting life. Right? And as it describes Simon the high priest, that's how we gonna be shining forth, man. Like we said, it's already started right now. See, but the world, they haven't seen it yet, like it tells you in 1 John the 3rd chapter. They don't know what we're gonna become. Right? They think we're just bums on a corner. And that's perfectly okay. That's perfectly fine, man. Isaiah, because you have to be spirit, because they're natural men. The scripture says the preaching of the cross to them that perish is foolishness, just like they look like Noah. See, but through Noah, And his sacrifice, the whole world was repopulated through him and his 3 sons. So that was a heavy thing. All right. Let's read this Isaiah 61:6. As we just read about Simon the high priest and, the perfectness and the glory that he had, and how he was like the morning star and the full moon and the sun that shined forth from the temple. Well, I liken that unto how we going to be in the kingdom, man. Isaiah 61:6, it says, but he shall be named the priest of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Shah. Men shall call you the ministers of our power. You shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves, man. Right? Starting with the earth and everything that they have, the best of everything, because that's what the priests got. Right? We're going to get the best of the land, the best of, the wine, the oil, the resources on the planet Earth, the best of everything. We're going to get it first. All right? They're always going to be constantly paying tribute to the sons of the power. And through us, they're going to learn how to serve Yahweh Bashem Shah. The scripture calls it that new heavens and that new earth. I wanted to get Isaiah 65th chapter, but I'm running short on time. Let me read Revelations, the 21st chapter, man. So that morning star, the last enemy we gonna conquer is death, man. Calling La Yahweh Bashem Shah, man. Because that's the curse that's on all the sons of Adam. It tells you that in Sirach, the 40th chapter. Let's read that actually. Right, I'm going to get Isaiah the 60, but you know what? I'll do that another video on that. It's Sirach chapter 40, verse 1. It says, great travail is created for every man, and an heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam. Right, like I said, all nations today go back to Adam through Noah. All right, and his 3 sons. It says, from the day that they go out their mother's womb to the day that they return to the mother of all things, return to the earth, the imagination of things to come and the day of death trouble their thoughts and the cause of fear. Right? We go through anxiety, demons messing with you, right? Depression. These are all spirits, man. From the he that sitteth on a throne of glory to matter for you in high places, or matter for you a base man, unto him that is humble in earth and ashes, from him that weareth purple and a crown which that was for royalty, and unto him that clothed with linen frock. Wrath, envy, trouble, unquietness, fear of death, and anger, strife, and in the time of rest upon his bed, his night's sleep do change his knowledge. We also know that we tell you that in the book of Job, the 4th chapter, man. It says, a little or nothing is his rest, and afterward he is in his sleep, as in the day of keeping watch, and trouble in the vision of his heart, as if he were escaped out of a battle. All right? So it don't matter where you sleeping, man. We all troubled in the flesh, man, because that's the curse that befell upon the sons of Adam. When all is safe, he awakened and marveled that the fear was nothing. These nightmares, such things happen unto all flesh, both man and beast, and that is 7-fold more upon sinners. Right, our people that refuse to get right. You see, they're gonna be cut off, man. But we have hope, man. We've been called into glory. We just have to endure. See, so this is the curse that befell upon all the sons of Adam. But through Yahweh Shai, we're going to conquer death. Let's get Revelation, the 21st chapter. Revelation 21, verse 5. It says, is it 21:5? Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah, Revelation 21, verse 5, it says, and he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. All things are going to be renewed, man. New heavens and a new earth. All right, which is the rulership. Because the earth abided forever. But the rulership is going to change. See? Everything's going to be underneath Yahweh Bashem Shah's order and his men. And the earth is going to be beautified again, man. So there will be a great but in righteousness. And he said unto me, write, for these things, these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, it is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. And I will give unto him that is athirst the fountain of water of life freely. And he that overcometh shall inherit all things. See, that morning star in Revelation, the 2nd chapter. All right. with the new covenant, all the future glory and the different promises that's coming. And I will be his power, and he shall be my son. And that's what we just read in 1 John, the 3rd chapter earlier. We're sons of the power again, man. Starting with the son, Yahweh Shai, the first fruit. So the Lord is coming back to redeem his fruits, man, his first fruits. You see? And every man in his order. And then when in the midst of it, we're going to get those new bodies. All right? And that's the age of immortality from that point on. That's why you read Revelation, the 22nd chapter. I'll close it out with this. It says, and he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb. And in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, there was a tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. Yeah, which, we went into that. That does go into the zodiac. We don't have that understanding anymore. Ultimately, the tree of life starts with Yahweh Shai Mashiach, which we had access to in the garden, which was what? Immortality. And the leaves of a tree were the healing of the nations. And there was no more curse. So when we overcome and we get back those things fully, no more curse. What will befall upon the sons of Adam in Sirach, the 40th chapter. No more death, man. No more those curses in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Being subject to these nations. Being a laughing stock amongst these nations. Proverbs and bywords. The hatred that we have towards one another, man. That's going to be done away with. Alright? So there shall be no more curse, but the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. So call him Layal Bashim El Shah, man. That's what we waiting for, morning star, that new covenant, so we can inherit all the promises. Alright? So that I'm going to say, call him La Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Shalom.